World Tenz.
There are countless countries suffering from hunger issues. Some a lot more than others. Starvation, famine, food insecurity, poverty and so many other things. There are countries we haven't even heard of, but their fate is so much worse than ours. The hunger issues of a country are determined by Global Hunger Index, GHI, score. The GHI score is calculated by averaging the percentage of the population that is undernourished, the percentage of children younger than 5 years old who are underweight, and the percentage of children dying before the age of 5. Countries with extremely alarming hunger issues have a GHI of over 30 and those between 20 to 30 come under alarming hunger problems. Number 1 Haiti. Haiti is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. Not only is there underdevelopment but natural disasters and political issues have made Haiti worse. 55% of the people are below poverty line. With around 3/4 population of the country living on less than $2 per day, the malnutrition rate of children between 1 to 5 years is 22.9%. Number 2 Zambia. Politically, the nation is probably more stable than others on this list. But when it comes to poverty, Zambia is facing major issues. As Zambia is not economically powerful, despite the government's efforts, malnutrition is chronically present in many children and most of them are surviving on 1 or 2 meals per day. Number 3 Yemen. Yemen is facing huge famine issues. Around 41% of Yemen's population is not secure when it comes to food and malnutrition rates are one of the highest in the world. To make things worse, not only is the country facing food insecurity and high food prices, but also civil conflict, large-scale displacement, endemic poverty and influx of refugees and migrants. Number 4 Ethiopia. Even though Ethiopia has impressively improved its economic condition, there are more issues to deal with like political and civil unrest, low literacy rates, high poverty and the most alarming fact of all, that Ethiopia has suffered from famine for almost 3 decades now. Malnutrition and starvation go hand in hand here. Number 5 Chad. After gaining independence in 1960, Chad has suffered from major social unrest and conflicts with neighboring countries. The Sahelian region of Chad is suffering highly from the effects of malnutrition and food insecurity. Parts of the country are majorly arid. Number 6 Sudan. Although South Sudan gained independence from former Sudan in 2011, both nations are unstable and poor. Citizens of both countries have been suffering majorly over the years and the GHI score of both had to be calculated together as separate undernourishment estimates for 2011 to 2013 were not available for South Sudan. Number 7 Comoros. Comoros gained independence from France in 1975. But since then, there have been around 20 coups or coup attempts. The country suffers from high infant mortality, hunger and increase in population. All these add to the ill fate of the nation. Number 8 Timor-Leste. Timor-Leste is one of the poorest countries in the world. Around 90% of the population does not get enough food to consume between November and March every single year. Children in particular are prone to ill effects of hunger. Around half of the country's children are chronically malnutritioned. Number 9 Eritrea. Eritrea is not famous for much. But when it comes to hunger, Eritrea has the capacity to make headlines. More than 12 million people have been affected by famine and drought. Being one of the least developed nations in the world, there is a lack of resources and aid to help with this cause. Number 10 Burundi. Burundi has been credited to be the hungriest nation in Africa and has been on top of the GHI score list for the 3rd year running. With almost 65% of its population being below the poverty line, more than 50% of Burundi's 10 million citizens are affected by malnutrition.